Hello and welcome to Paleo Talks. We are still in the Cretaceous period, and we've got one more episode after this, and then we will be moving on into the Ice Age. Well, not the Ice Age, but the post-dinosaur world. So this is, assuming you can read that there, this is Iguanodon. Now, Iguanodon is very well-documented, well-known animal that we discussed one of its relatives, Parasaurolophus, yesterday. And, or not yesterday, but last week. We didn't discuss anything yesterday. Yeah, but Iguanodon, again, like Parasaurolophus, could run on two legs. Now, an interesting thing about Iguanodon, I can't really see it in this picture, but, so it had 5 fingers, just like us. Now, these 3 fingers would be fused into a foot pad for it to walk on. Its pinky finger acted sort of like a thumb as a grasping thing, and its thumb was a large, bony spike, nearly 7 inches long, used for self-defense. As you can see here, there's another animal. Now, this other animal would be Polacanthus, who we'll move into shortly. Now, Iguanodon was a big food source for many animals. I apologize about the small image. It's the only one of this picture I could find. It was a food source for many animals, including Utahraptor, as we see here. Now, Utahraptor is not able to penetrate the thick armor of Polacanthus, which is like all ankylosaurs, is a living battle tank. It's actually a bit more like another one, Gastonia, who we will discuss next week. As in, instead of having a club at the end of its tail, like a lot of ankylosaurs do, they have this big bony protrusion that they basically use as like a war hammer. This Gastonia and its related creatures like Polacanthus have sharp triangular spikes, nearly 7 inches long. They're very flattened and very sharp, running all the way down its tail. And the way they work is when it swings its tail, they overlap and act like scissors. And it's nasty. They're nastily effective. Now, Utahraptor is one of the largest raptors ever to live. As you can see, it's actually taller than humans. Now, velociraptors are only about down to here. Very small. They're only about 3 feet tall. They're about 6 feet long. This thing is huge. It's almost 7 meters long. That's massive. So there's a lot of stuff. As you can see, despite being very large, well, large for raptors, so let's put this into perspective. It's not very large on a dinosaur scale. They're still very small. But, for raptors, as far as raptors go, they're very large. Now, Utahraptor, like most raptors, hunted in packs of anywhere from 3 to 10 individuals. However, the largest, the apex predator of the early Cretaceous was Carnotaurus, carnivorous bull, as it's called. Now, this picture is actually a bit unrealistic. Carnotaurus would not be eating Triceratops, as Triceratops would not evolve for several million years after Carnotaurus was extinct. However, it is a formidable predator. Its horns were likely a mating display. We're not really sure what they were for, but nothing short of Carnotaurus could touch Polacanthus. As the Carnotaurus, what the scientists believe happened, part of the evolution of Carnotaurus, was it's especially the thick skull and the horns. They may have been used to flip armored herbivores like Polacanthus. There are others that were around who we will discuss. They became later in the timeline. This is basically the beginning of the Cretaceous period. Carnotaurus itself will stretch along for several more million years, for about 3 million years more, before going extinct. But in that span of time, it will be hugely successful, and many varieties of armored herbivore will appear with thicker and thicker armor. So what they think it does is they think it charges and then headbutts it to try to flip it over onto its back. Because the Polacanthus is actually one of the more lightly armored ones of these. But you know, these things get to the point where there's more bone than skin on the outside. They're literally, as you can see, on the back, you know, there's armor. But down here, on the underbelly, there is no armor. And that is a trait that does not change. I think there's one animal who, I believe Edmontia has underbelly armor, but it's very minimal. It's not as much. But other than that, they're flipped right over, and once they're on their back, they're kind of like a turtle. They have trouble getting up. And the underbelly is very soft and fleshy and very easy to get to. Which, that's its vulnerability. Everything has a weakness. However, that being said, it's hard to get to because scientists believe they would crouch down almost like this and hit stuff with their tail. The back end of it is the most dangerous part. However, the armor is the thickest on the head, so there's no real way to approach it, which is why these animals were hugely successful. And it's not just Polacanthus. This is not the only one. There are many more, and we will do a whole episode on them tomorrow or next week. I'll see you then.